sure did not occur. I could not have seen myself here in a place I've been before. Seeing everything all over as if I could really know.
That's on the new record. It's called Watching the Waiting. It's actually the only song on that record that is new. The other songs on Tween are collected over the years from sort of outtakes from records. So we left them behind not because we didn't like them, but because they didn't fit in with the general theme aesthetic that we were going for the record proper. But then we found them again and we really liked them. Towards the end of that process, I wrote Watching the Waiting, and it just sort of felt like it completed the cycle a little bit. It's new, but it sort of fits in with those songs and kind of brings them all together. So it's the last track on our new record. I was taking stock of a lot of things in my life when I was making this record, because I was in the process of moving from Baltimore, my home forever, to a little house in the woods in North Carolina, where I currently live. And you know, when you move, you sort of dig through your possessions and take stock of what you have in your life. And I was doing the same thing musically. And you know, so I was doing a lot of reflecting on where I was when I wrote those songs and where I am now, and that's kind of what led to this song existing. I mean, you gotta do everything you can to kill the poison of nostalgia, but it does have its place from time to time, and I think moving is definitely one of those times. Trying to find my place as a guitar player and a musician in general, and happening to be female, it's tricky because you never know if people respect your ideas or just the idea of you. And there was a time in the growth of Wye Oak where I felt like people were really into the idea of me as like a chick who plays guitar. Like, whoa, how crazy is that? And it drove me nuts because I felt like the fact that I could get up there and do something competently shouldn't be a surprise to people. You know, people's reactions were like, why can't you just take a compliment? Like, people like your playing. And I think to a certain extent that's true, but there's always this undercurrent of like shock and amazement that I could be competent at something. And it just drove me nuts to the point where I felt like I was being tokenized, and my reaction was to be like, well, fuck this. I'll go make the same songs I've always been making, but I'm gonna do it in a different way, because I just felt uncomfortable being put in that position. I think it's been largely a successful few years in that regard, because now I'm playing guitar and bass and keys on stage. I've always sort of been multi-instrumentalist and producer and, you know, songwriter, and so all those things in my mind work together, and that's sort of the skill that I offer. It's not any one thing, it's sort of that collection of skills working towards a greater end. And so now I sort of feel like guitar's back on the table. It was never really off the table, honestly, but I've set this precedent where it's understood that it's beside the point to obsess over the fact that, like, I'm just like a chick who plays guitar, how crazy, how novel. And so yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place with it, and so it feels like especially cool to choose now as the time to put the guitar out into the world.
It's about time, but you know I'm not.
I've been playing Reverend guitars for a long time, and somewhere along the line Ken noticed and reached out and said, hey, we love that you love our guitars. Let's give you a couple of them. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. They reached out about putting together a guitar just for me, slapping my name on there, and here we are. It exists. It's sitting right there. When I first played a Reverend, it basically hit all the marks for me as far as what I wanted. I think it's just those badass pickups that really did the trick for me. It's loud, it's full, but it's warm. It's not too bright. Like, and I love the way they feel. They're not too heavy. They're really easy to play, and they look cool. So that is a design that my brilliant and talented friend from Baltimore, her name's April Camlin, and she has been a big part of the design, the aesthetic design for my solo project, which is called Flock of Dimes. When Ken reached out to me about putting something together, I thought it would be cool to link it to the whole aesthetic of the project and have April design the guitar. The purpose of music for me has nothing to do with virtuosity or proficiency or just pure chops for chops' sake. And I think that tends to be the realm of the signature guitar player, just this sort of like wankish, virtuosic ability on display. And I've never been that kind of musician or guitar player. I mean, I think everything sort of works in service of the song and the composition and the idea. And so it wasn't something that I really aspired to, but it never occurred to me that it doesn't have to be that way. And it feels great to have this honor, but you know, in service of something entirely different.
Was of my choosing.